Voters across the country hit the polls yesterday for primary elections, and what came out of it, it tells you a lot about where both parties are headed into the midterms. Right, Trump's allies are battling each other for MAGA supremacy, Democrats are dealing with their own fractures, and in Texas, you had hundreds of voters being turned away from their usual polling locations after district maps were quietly redrawn. And the chaos got so bad you had a judge ordering for the polls to stay open an extra 2 hours, but there's a lot we need to break down here. Because these primaries, they set the stage for the midterms, and the anxiety, it was real on both sides.
If we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
Republican voter morale's dipped as the president has led the country into war while also trying to distance himself from the Epstein files. But also, voters aren't completely sure the Democrats have the strength to capitalize either, with growing internal divisions over multiple issues. And one of the biggest questions heading into primary season has been whether aging incumbents can hold their ground against a younger generation of challengers. And so starting with the Senate races, and specifically the straightforward ones, in Arkansas, Republican Senator Tom Cotton will face Democratic challenger Hallie Schaffner. In North Carolina, former Governor Roy Cooper, a popular moderate who pulled 92% of the primary vote, will be opposed by Michael Whatley, who's already been endorsed by Trump.
And I want to thank President Donald J. Trump for his strong and unwavering support in this race.
But Texas, it was definitely the main event. And on the Republican side, you had Senator John Cornyn and Attorney General Ken Paxton heading to a runoff after Representative Wesley Hunt split the field. And while both are actually in Trump's good graces, neither got an official endorsement before yesterday's race started, which could have actually worked in their favor, with Texas Republicans having largely stuck by the president, even as national support has softened. But also today, as of recording, we're seeing reports showing that Trump is expected to endorse Cornyn in the runoff race. And the dynamic between these two, if you haven't seen it, it's very clear. Cornyn says that Paxton is a liability because of his legal troubles and controversies.
Texas Republican primary voters will hear more about my record of delivering conservative victories in the United States Senate and learn more about Ken's indefensible personal behavior and failures in office.
And while Cornyn, I'll say, he's had more of an up and down relationship with Trump. Right? His willingness at times to work with the Democrats and his occasional criticism of the president, it's led to Trump calling him a rhino. So, something to consider there as we wait to see how this plays out. But the runoff, it's set for May 26th. Right? But the Democratic primary there, it was arguably the most heated race of the night. And there you saw State Representative James Talarico defeating second-term Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, and it was a messy one. Right? And by most measures, Talarico ran an effective campaign that reached beyond the traditional Democratic base, something that the party's been trying to figure out for years. Right? And that, well, Crockett brought a different kind of energy. She is a second-term congresswoman who built a national profile by being blunt and confrontational in moments where other politicians maybe hedge their bets.
Somebody's bleach blonde, bad-built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Off.
Right, and Crockett's been a vocal advocate for black and brown communities in Texas, which actually has the highest black population in any state. But also, you had both candidates dealing with different controversies. You had Talarico facing backlash after allegations that he referred to a former Texas Representative Colin Allred as a mediocre black man in a private conversation. You had Talarico denying that, saying he would never say that. He was saying that Allred, the way that he campaigned, was mediocre. And then Crockett faced accusations online that she was a Zionist with unclear positions on Israel's relationship with the White House, though she said that those allegations were unsubstantiated. But one of the things that a lot of people came back to is saying that racial dynamics were an undercurrent throughout the race. And with that, you saw Crockett pointing to what she described as dog whistles, including her deeper political experience being overlooked, and ads from Talarico's camp that she said darkened her skin tone.
We've all seen the attack ads that have come on behalf of my primary opponent, the ads that are darkening my skin, and this continual kind of, if she wins, we lose. It's not even undertones right now. It is straight up racist.
Now, whether race was a deciding factor in the outcome, that's going to be something that people debate, but I will say that it was clearly part of the conversation throughout. But then also, we need to talk about what happened at the actual polls, because that was something that affected voters across the board. You had many Texas voters being turned away from locations that they'd been voting at for years. And the highest number of reported cases, it came out of Dallas County, but Williamson County, north of Austin, they saw similar problems. You had voters arriving at their usual spots only to be told that they had to go to different precinct locations. And this happened because Texas congressional districts were remapped and new precinct lines were finalized in December, leaving almost no time to inform voters.
Dallas County should have the second largest voter participation of any county in this state.
And on top of that, Texas previously used a system where people could vote anywhere in their home county. And so there was so much confusion that it crashed the county election office's website, with then a Dallas County judge ordering polls to stay open 2 extra hours. But with some voters having walked miles to their original locations only to be redirected, there were real questions about whether that was actually enough.
Every vote must be counted. Every voice must be heard. The voter suppression in my home county and in Congresswoman Crockett's home county underscores the gravity of this moment.
There was a lot of confusion today. We're about to file a lawsuit to keep the voting polls open. We were able to keep the polls open, but I can tell you now that people have been disenfranchised.
Or with both candidates there acknowledging the problem, and it was a very real failure that affected real voters regardless of who they were there to support. And so with all this, you have Crockett's camp saying that they were preparing a lawsuit, especially after a conflicting court directive complicated the extended hours.
The Supreme Court also said that they are to separate any votes out that came in after 7 p.m.
Crockett has also since conceded, citing the need for party unity heading into the midterms. And so, with all of this, there is the question, okay, why did yesterday matter? What does it tell us? Well, first up, voter suppression's alive and well. Or we saw it in Texas yesterday, and we'll probably see it again across the country between redrawn maps, mail-in ballot fights, disappearing polling locations, and unrealistic wait times. And while mistakes happen, and we need to be aware of that, they don't happen this often and this consistently in the same direction. This is seeming more like a feature, not a glitch. Then second up, primary turnout, it's a preview of midterm energy. But if excitement and party loyalty is strong enough to bring people out in the primaries, those same voters will likely show up in November and in 2028. And third up, Trump's influence is still the dominant variable on the Republican side. But in Texas, anything short of an official endorsement meant that voters defaulted to whoever aligned with the president most closely on the issues that mattered most to them. Dan Crenshaw, the only House Republican in Texas running for re-election without Trump's endorsement and someone known for occasionally breaking from the party, he may have lost a seat because of it. And then finally, looking at the situation and exit polls, affordability appears to be cutting through everything. It was a major factor in Texas yesterday, and it's not the only place where that issue is driving votes. And so both parties, they're going to have to reckon with a lot, but that also includes the fact that voters care about what they can afford